It's Tom Roos here reporting for Motorsport Radio, and I am with British Superbike rider Filip Backlund. Philip, good afternoon.
Hey, how are we?
Yeah, very well indeed, thank you. So we're at Mallory Park for the final round of Cool FAB-Racing. What brings you here?
Today, I've been involved with the Cool Fab for the whole year. I'm one of the ambassadors of the championship. So, we come to the end of the season. We started off in Red Lodge, first race, and now we're here, the last race. So it's been a long year. And today we have a day off, more or less, of racing out on track. And my part today, I've done first a speech in the morning for all the kids and parents about especially my background, so where I started, also about sponsorship, because in the end we know that racing bikes will cost money. So today has been a little bit about that, like a workshop day, and then tomorrow, Sunday, all the racing starts again.
Brilliant. And tell us about that speech that you gave down in the event centre earlier on. Really exciting, really insightful, I found as well.
Yeah, I think we all have different backgrounds. I just wanted to, especially the kids, but also the parents, to have a bit of knowledge about my background. So where I started with the racing when I was 3 years old. But especially in the end, the main focus today was to give them an idea how I raise money to be able to race motorbikes. So purely the sponsorship side of things, and also for the kids to give them an understanding about everything from racing the bikes on track, but also physically, so the training, the nutrition, sleeping, everything. So the whole area, if you say there, yeah.
And we mentioned in that speech as well, you mentioned about how the off-track performance that you have with sponsors and with your organisation, your personal life as well, it's so important, isn't it? And almost as important as your on-track performance as well.
I think back in the days, if you turn it around 15, 20 years ago, you could see that as a rider, you came to the track, you raced your bike, and you went home, more or less. Today, it's a different area. Or era, because today you have so much money, so many companies and sponsorships involved, that you as a rider have a bigger part of that. So you have everything from the action on track, the results, but also how you present yourself, taking care of the sponsors, the fans, the followers. So all the different areas, you need to be able to be a winner on all the areas, not only one area. And that's how you see today how teams are signing their riders many times.
And one point I particularly liked in there, you mentioned about how when you were 13 going around to all these different businesses and asking them to sponsor you, and technology now has evolved so much. How does that change things with the likes of social media coming on form over the last 5 or 6 years?
If you say, social media today, you can attract different kind of companies for different kind of platforms. So today I would say that in terms of sponsorships, you have a few companies that's interested of visibility, a few companies who's only interested of your fans, followers, which is a lot of social media activation. And then you have companies which are looking for return of invest in other areas where you have maybe business to business between companies. And on the social media side of things, we, especially this year, we made a hard push on that side. So my team I have around me, we employed an agency, PR agency, purely to work on Filip Backlund as a brand, but also the social media platform. So both attracting more fans, followers, integrate with the fans more, but also how we can work with our current sponsors or companies on that platform.
Brilliant. And talking of on-track performance in 2016 with BSB, it's been an interesting year for you, of course, injury at the start. And how would you describe your year in British Superbikes with Quattro?
It's plenty of good things come out of it, but in terms of the results for myself, I think it has been truly a hard season. Like you mentioned, I started off and unfortunately broke my left collarbone. I was up again on the bike after just 2 weeks after I operated that. So I think in different areas, but if we're going to look at it, maybe I was a little bit too quick to jump on the bike again because my fitness wasn't 100% there. Then unfortunately after that, I had a few big crashes again, which didn't help that situation. Normally, if I look back over the last 3 years, maybe I have had one big crash over a season, which your body can recover from. This year I maybe have had 6 or 7 big crashes, and we're talking crashes between 100 to 150, 170 miles. And the impact on your body is extremely hard, extremely high. And that's just been the case. I've been having a punch all the time and not been able to recover, unfortunately.
Yeah, and speaking of crashes as well, I think one of the most terrifying things I've ever seen in terms of British Superbikes just a couple of weeks ago at Brands Hatch with Howie Mainwaring Smart. Tell us about that. I mean, what went through your mind when you came off at that corner?
You don't really think too much, because unfortunately Howie didn't have any brakes after the back straight, and I was in front of him, so I got hit by Howie. And in that second, if you say, you don't really understand what's going on. It's just a big hit, and then we were flying. So on the back straight, we're roughly 160, 170 miles, and that's when we crash. So everything goes so quick. Normally, when you crash yourself, you have a millisecond where you can actually understand what's going on, and you can make a plan in your head. Okay, when this happens now, I will either take my arms in or legs or whatever you're gonna do, but you prepare for that. In this situation, when you get hit from behind, you don't have that millisecond to prepare. So it's just a case that, oh, this is bad.
Yeah, absolutely, and it was obviously quite a terrifying incident to watch on screen. And I mean, going into 2017 as well, what are we looking at for you in terms of racing? Are we looking at BSB or other options for you?
I have plenty of different options, both to stay here in the championship in the British, but also to go elsewhere. And for now, I'm just looking at the options and making a plan what's best for me. So for the future, especially, I'm 26, so quite young, but still I'm getting older. So it's also a case where it's best for me to be in maybe not only 1 year, but also in 3 or 5 years time. So that's where we are.
And the profile that you've got within paddocks and with sponsors and the rapport that you've got, you're perhaps one of the most prolific riders that we see in terms of the time you spend with your fans. And I mean, how important is that for your racing, developing those relationships?
Yeah, I think that, over the last couple of years, I put a lot of time into those areas, which I can see the benefits from, both from a sponsorship perspective, but also fans and followers. For me, it's not only a case where I go to a race weekend where I enjoy just racing the bike. I enjoy everything from taking care of my sponsors and the guests who comes, to meeting all the fans or all the spectators come to the race weekends. And I mean, it's if I turn it around, if I were a spectator, I'm asking myself, what do I want to get out of when I go to a meeting like this? So I try to just look at that situation and say, all right, if I was a spectator, what do I want? Yeah, I would like to speak to the guys I'm looking at. I want to feel welcome. I want to feel that I'm a part of it, if you say, and that's what I'm trying to give to them. And hopefully, it's nice to see that little extra time you can give them so much.
And if you could roll the clock back 10 years to when you were 16 and making your stand in racing, is there anything you'd change? Would you give yourself any more advice from what you know now in racing?
It's always, I think that, I can look back at my history, and I'm super happy with everything I got or everything I've done. The only thing that I would like to was to maybe be able to take the step and go to the British Championship or similar a little bit earlier. I was 23 when I did my first year over here. I would have preferred to be maybe 20 or 19. But it's always a case. If I would have been 18 or 19 or 20 when I went here, I wouldn't be experienced as I was when I was 23. So it's always a balance of that. And through my whole year, through my whole career, I always made the choices with in the end, the feeling I have in my stomach, which I really think for me it's the best way to go. And I didn't have that feeling before I was 23. So for me, it was quite natural to say, before I feel that I should take the step, I shouldn't do it.
And just to conclude as well, with regards to Cool Fab this year, we've seen, of course, the junior BSB teams coming in. We've got the awnings, the branded bikes. Just how exciting is that? I mean, having that grassroots support at a British level.
It's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. When I walk down here and I see all those BSB branded tents and bikes, I mean, I'm like, oh God, if I was 10 years again, I want to be on that one. It's because I remember when I grew up, when I was living back home in Sweden, we had the big championship back home, and when I was 11, 12 years old, my dad brought me out to watch those races, and I'm like, whoa, this is huge. For me to just look at that, and now here you have the partnership that makes them be a part of the big boys. I mean, it's for them, I think it's a small dream come true.
Absolutely, that's a perfect way to end it. Philip, whatever you do in 2017, we wish you the very best of luck, and we hope to chat to you again soon.
We do. Thanks, Tom. See you later, guys.
Perfect.